Our Hacking for Community problem originates from this Hacker News post from 4 days ago. This post hit the front page and got my attention, not just because I'm Nepalese, but also because of the large number of comments below. People chimed in with very similar stories, using whatever very basic tools they had to learn to code. The stories were from all backgrounds: high school students, CS students in college, and even some from Silicon Valley. After hearing about so many stories, we wanted to see exactly how big of a problem this really was.
Turns out, the issue experienced by these Nepalese students may actually be quite common. According to Pew Research, about 28% of young adults, including college students, do not use broadband at home but own smartphones. This means there's a significant portion of young adults who can't afford the luxury of laptops and PCs and rely on smartphones for online access, although the access they get may not be reliable. We can also see an upwards trend that suggests this figure may increase in the future. Looking towards the future, GSMA Intelligence predicts that in 2025, a majority, specifically 73% of the online population, will rely on mobile devices only for online access. If we consider the entire population, this figure will become 45%, which is still a significant portion of the population. An additional 10% own mobile devices but do not have access to the internet. And if we consider that the total population is projected to exceed 8 billion in 2025, this means over half, or over 4 billion people, can only rely on mobile devices in some form. Of those who wish to become developers, many may face some difficulties in the current market, which I'll hand off to Justin to discuss.
After investigating the current IDEs available in the Google Play and iOS app stores, we discovered that while the current mobile IDEs provided a functional text editor, all of them ran code through servers online. If students had to code on their phones because they couldn't afford a laptop or PC, they also may not have reliable internet service, which would not allow them to run their code well if the apps relied on online servers. Here are some complaints that users have had of existing apps, such as CodeSnack and JavaScript Anywhere. And as we can see, this user wanted to run his code offline in CodeSnack, but he couldn't because the IDE executes his code on a remote server. Another user wanted to save his work and make more complex programs, but he also wasn't able to. Now I'll hand it over to Tommy, who will discuss how we improved on the existing apps.
Like Justin said, we noticed a desire for a smartphone IDE that has everything included right out of the box without any hackery or hell to make your smartphone usable. Introducing our solution, devJS. It's a fully offline, out-of-the-box IDE built for Android and iOS to expand coding access around the world. You can run and save your code completely offline and have syntax highlighting and autocomplete built right in. Our selected nonprofit, Code.org, is an organization dedicated to expanding access to computer science around the world. Their vision is that every student in every school has the opportunity to learn computer science, and it's a sentiment we all share. We hope devJS can help with reaching that future. Now, for our demo and an explanation of the app architecture, I'll hand it off to Sam Yoke.
Okay, so on this page, once we start, you can see that we have an Express application where I've already built like a sample index.js and an index.html. And if you're wondering how to create files in folders, we can do like test/test.txt, create file, and then it creates the test folder with text.txt in it. And of course, this shaves just like you would expect it to. Anyway, so we can see, if we go to index.js, hit run, and then load in from the side and just refresh to show that, it's actually on localhost port 3000. And then you click add a cookie. Look, it's the actual Express app in the background maintaining state of the cookie. And that's pretty much it for the demo. As for how we built this app, we started with Sketch and drew out all the screens on Sketch to figure out exactly what this app would look like before we started coding. As soon as we started coding, however, React Native ended up being a bit more trouble than we thought. Not only was coding React Native just in the JavaScript side of things difficult, we also had another part, incorporating the binary Node.js that we shipped with every app. The reason we had to incorporate this Node.js binary that was compiled on iOS or Android is because iOS doesn't allow other processes to run next to the app. Basically, they disable just-in-time compilation or compilation of code, or they don't allow running of code that gets compiled at runtime. So therefore, we have to pre-compile this node interpreter that runs entirely on iOS for this app to work. And that involved a lot of messing around within the native code of both the Android and the iOS side of things, just so we could code the front end part, the quote unquote front end part in React Native, which we all had experience in. And the red parts are the parts that we had to figure out that aside from all the like React Native navigation and all that sorts of stuff. And so it runs a compiled version of Node.js based on Chakra Core on iOS, which is an old Microsoft project that we had to basically unarchive. And it uses Termix on Android because Termix already works really well. So there's no point doing something subpar on something that already works. And it is very possible to extend this model to support other languages, i.e. Python. I know there are some Python binaries for iOS out there. We only had time to do Node.js, but that is definitely where we're looking to expand in the future. And it's compiled with many WebDev NPM packages out of the box, but you can always add more. And this is just so we can, like, if you just download the app and you need to like go on a trip or something, it already has the basics like Express and React, or at least the packages, and therefore you won't have to worry about downloading them after you download the app. And this is basically our commit history of the entire project. As you can see, there were a lot of bug versions that ended up needing to be remerged and repulled and all sorts of Git finicky stuff. I'll hand it off to Tommy to show you where we're going next.
Yeah, thanks. So in the future of devJS, we are looking to expand multi-language support, maybe add Python. We want to add like a Git support or like a version control so you can practice using Git, and also access to a debugger. You know, debuggers are very helpful when trying to figure out why your code isn't working. And we want that experience for everybody.
So that's devJS. It's a mobile IDE. If you like what you see, give us a like and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions, comment down below. See you next time.